It's another 3-city, 10-game road trip for the D-backs. Welcome to Turner Field. We're in Atlanta on a beautiful southern weekend. Warm sunshine, John Smoltz bobblehead night here. And a D-backs team that comes in winners of 12 of its last 18 games. First up, the opener of a 3-game set with the Braves, who since July the 8th have baseball's worst record at 9-21. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to Turner Field. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. And tonight, the first of 3, Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves. And the D-backs take their offensive show here once again on the road. And, Bob, the bats have been booming lately.
Boy, have they ever been booming lately. You see the numbers going back over the last 6 series. The Diamondbacks 13-7 over that stretch. Offense has been clicking on all cylinders. 15 hits or more in their last 4 consecutive games. And it's been contributions up and down the lineup.
Well, you might not recognize this Braves team. They have lost 14 of their last 20 games. They are 12 games under 500 for the year. Freddie Freeman is not here tonight. He's out with an injury right now on the DL. This is a team in transition. Some different names in there.
Some kind of a transition, yeah. 16 players traded already this season. Only 9 of the 25 players on the opening day roster are still here. Take it a little further. Only 3 players on the 25-man roster were here last season.
So the days of John Smoltz are long gone as this franchise looks ahead to its new stadium in 2017. The road trip begins in the Deep South. Julio Teheran for the Braves and lefty Robbie Ray for the D-backs. First pitch next on Fox Sports Arizona. Trip 10 games, 3 cities. We start tonight, the first of 3 against the Atlanta Braves here at Turner Field. And your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Braves, it's 24-year-old right-hander Julio Teheran this year, giving up more hits and walks than ever before. What about the plan tonight? Here's hitting coach Turner Ward.
Our plan is to be aggressive, but also aggressive to our zone. And so what that means is us being a little bit more disciplined, you know. So pitchers are starting to figure out even more how aggressive that we are, but when we can be aggressive in the zone, then we'll do more damage.
Julio Teheran, an all-star last year. This season he has taken a step back. His ERA, Bob, nearly double what it was last season.
Yeah, he has been very good here at home this season. Is 5-1 with a 2.5 ERA and 11 starts. Not so good on the road, however. Has a real good four-seam fastball, has a good hard slider as well. He's tried to incorporate that two-seam sinking fastball, sometimes to his own detriment, trying to force it into his arsenal. Also has a curve and a changeup that he'll use from time to time to the lefties.
Well, the time to get to Julio Teheran is right now. He has struggled to begin ball games this year. His ERA in the first inning is 6.26. He has allowed more earned runs in the first inning than in any other inning this year. Paul Schreiber is our plate umpire. Ender Inciarte set to lead it off, and we are set to go. The Diamondbacks and the Braves from Turner Field. Ender at .297 and 3 home runs. Ball one.
Oh, I love the way Turner Ward put it. Be aggressive on our pitches. Be aggressive in the strike zone. That's a great way to look at it. You want to be aggressive, but you want to make sure they're good pitches.
Ender 3 hits in Wednesday's game against the Phillies. And the last 10 games hitting .350. A beautiful 85 degrees and a gorgeous summer evening here in Atlanta, Georgia. There's the strike, 2-1. Three balls in a strike. Julio Teheran has won just once in his last 6 starts, but he's been a little better lately, hinting he might be on his way back to his previous form. It's full 3-2.
Yeah, I mentioned him trying to force that two-seam fastball into his arsenal to his own detriment. Many times he fell behind in the count with that two-seamer. 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. And was forced to come in with the four-seam fastball, which he can command much better. Ball 4 in the dirt that time. Inciarte on to start the ball game for the D-backs.
Take a look at the lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ender Inciarte leading it off out in right field tonight. A.J. Pollock in center. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. You see the numbers for A.J. over his last 8. Just like most of the D-backs hitters, red hot. David Peralta in a cleanup spot in left field. Wellington Castillo catching. Jake Lamb at third, Chris Owings at second, Nick Ahmed at short, and left-hander Robbie Ray on the mound.
Here's A.J. Pollock. 312 and 12 home runs. A.J. hitting .440 during what is now a 6-game hitting streak. And he's had multiple hits in his last 3 games. A long look down to Andy Green at third. There goes Inciarte. A.J. fouls it back here. It's 0-2. Diamondbacks getting very aggressive here right away.
It looked like that may have been a hit and run based on the way A.J. swung at that particular pitch. Really tried to let it get deep and shoot it through that right side of the infield. Unfortunately, fouled it off to the right side.
Nick Swisher, the first baseman, holding Ender aboard at first.
I was just going to say, I expect the Diamondbacks to be aggressive on the bases. Certainly a lot of it has to do with how quickly that pitcher unloads the ball. But A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate, only 11 out of 67 this season, throwing out attempted base stealers.
You think the Diamondbacks noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
The 0-2 pitch. Ender holds it first, and A.J. lines it right to Adonis Garcia for allowed out number 1. That was headed for the left field corner.
Yeah, tough break for A.J. Got a good pitch to hit, put a good swing on it, hit it right on the button. Unfortunately, right at the Braves' third baseman. That's just buzzard luck. Hang with him.
Paul Goldschmidt now leading the major leagues in hitting and leading the National League in RBIs.
I thought it was funny, before the game, partner, I was in the restroom, and they had the local radio station, the flagship station for the Braves, had their pregame show on, and some young lady, I'm not sure who she was, on with Brian Jordan. They were talking about the Diamondbacks, and she said, "Boy, is this team loaded." Had to run back and check the roster and make sure we still had the same guys. But sometimes when you're so close to a situation, we talked about this before the game, you tend to notice the warts more so than the pretty face. And Diamondbacks lately have been putting on a real pretty face for everybody.
Yeah, they are impressing all over the major leagues. We've got Ender and Ciarte right about 300. AJ and Goldie all-stars. Peralta the hottest hitter on planet Earth right now. Wellington Castillo doing all that damage. Top to bottom, it's a lineup that can hit with anybody out there.
And steal bases when necessary. Second in the National League in stolen bases. They're first in runs scored. Braves sitting at next to the last in the National League in runs scored. So I guess comparatively we're loaded.
Well, the Braves are undergoing a transition, as we mentioned. They're opening a new stadium here in the northern suburbs in 2017, and they're in kind of a holding pattern until then, trying to cut some salary and tread water. And they have not seen a lot of good baseball here lately. As we mentioned earlier, since July the 8th, the Braves have been the worst team in baseball, 9-21 since July the 8th.
Boy, and don't think Goldie doesn't want some payback right here. Very few pitchers have been able to dominate Paul Goldschmidt the way Julio Teheran has, an 0-for-9 lifetime.
Ender holds it first, and Goldie takes a ball. Mentioned that Julio Teheran has looked a little better lately. He won in Philadelphia 2 starts ago. 2 runs in 7 innings and struck out 7 without walking a batter. The walks have been an issue for him this year. Got a no decision his last time out Friday against the Marlins. 2-1 to Goldie. Lifted in the air and foul. Take a look at Atlanta around Julio Teheran. Our mid-first Spank starting defense for the Braves.
Johnny Gomes will be out in left field. Cameron Maben, the former Padre, out in center. Nick Markakis, the former Oriole, in right field. It'll be Adonis Garcia at third. Andrelton Simmons at shortstop. Jace Peterson at second. Nick Swisher over at first base with A.J. Przinsky doing the catching for right-hander Julio Teheran.
Nick Swisher and upstairs misses. Nick Swisher and Michael Bourne recently acquired after the deadline in a deal from Cleveland.
The zoom ball.
So Teheran went 3-2 on Inciarte before he walked him to lead off the ball game, and now he's gone 3-2 on Goldie. Inciarte takes off. That's a foul tip, and they strike him out, throw him out. Przinsky holds on, and Inciarte is out at second. Saw Paul Schreiber signal foul tip right there. Przinsky gets a mid on it and then guns out Inciarte. Bottom 1 coming up in Atlanta. Winless in his last 5 starts and facing the Braves for the first time in his career. His pitching coach is Mike Harkey.
Just want him to follow the game plan the best he can and command the counts. You know, I think with Robbie, you know, when he gets in trouble is when he starts getting himself into bad counts. And then I've just continued his improvement on his breaking ball.
The numbers on Robbie Ray. He tied his career high Saturday at Chase Field against the Reds. 8 strikeouts for the 3rd time this year. It was a first for the season that did him in. He allowed 2 home runs in the game. He had never done that before with the Diamondbacks. Chase Peterson, the former Padre, leads it off for the Braves. Peterson 244 and 5 home runs. And having a pretty fair rookie season in Atlanta after he played a handful of games in San Diego last year. That's where we first saw him. Three and one. He did not go, says Tom Hallion down there. Peterson hitting under 220 versus left-hand pitchers this year. He shoots it the other way, right to Jake Lamb in the hole. 1 away. A lineup for Freddie Gonzalez and his Atlanta Braves tonight.
We've seen Jace Peterson at the top. He'll be at second base tonight. Cameron Maybin out in center field. Nick Markakis hot over his last 15 games, carrying a .385 batting average. He'll be out in right field with Johnny Gomes in left. A.J. Pierzynski doing the catching. Adonis Garcia at third base. Nick Swisher down at first. Andrelton Simmons at shortstop, and right-hander Julio Teheran on the mound.
Cameron Maybin. It seems like every guy in this Atlanta lineup is a player they got from somewhere else. Well, John Hart rebuilds this Atlanta roster. 271 and 8 home runs for Maybin, the former Padre.
Yeah, right now this entire Braves roster does not have one hitter in double digits in home runs. Freddie Freeman was leading the club with 14, but he's on the disabled list right now. Next highest is 8 for the guy at the plate right now, Cameron Maybin.
Freeman suffered a strained oblique and just began a minor league rehab assignment in the Gulf Coast League. And I think they'll get Freeman back by the middle of next week. Robbie Ray falling behind in counts early. 3-1 on Maybin. Hold on there, Cameron.
Maybe painting along the bottom of that strike zone right at the corner.
3-2.
Now that falling behind in the count by Robbie Ray. Long term, obviously, it's going to add to his pitch count and possibly shorten up his evening because of that pitch count. But short term, if you consistently put yourself in those predictable fastball counts against a big league team, I don't care which big league team it is, they're eventually going to hit the ball hard.
And the foul balls are already piling up for Robbie. Ball forward. A one-out walk for Nick Markakis. The Diamondbacks around their left-hander, our mid-first bank starting defense.
Be an outfield of Peralta, Pollock, and Inciarte left to right this evening, with Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Chris Owings, Paul Goldschmidt over on the right side. Beef, Wellington Castillo. It's what's for dinner. He's behind the plate tonight for lefty Robbie Ray.
We can go into beef mode on this road trip. Here's Nick Markakis, the former Oriole. A very disciplined hitter up there. 301, only 2 homers. But he is leading the Braves in hits, walks, and on-base percentage. This guy, unlike Joey Votto, he does not swing at pitches that aren't strikes. And it's a big reason why he's fourth in the National League in hits. And hitting almost .390 the last 10 games. He's got 10 RBIs in 10 games this month, having a good August. Maben will run on you down there. He's got 18 stolen bases. He's been caught only 5 times. One 0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. And now Wellington Castillo wants a word with Robbie Ray. He's falling behind in the count again here. Nick Markakis in the 3-hole. This is a guy that does handle himself pretty well against lefties. Batting over .280 this year versus left-hand pitching. This guy's just a good hitter. Two and 0. 3-0 now. Robbie Ray is not throwing strikes out there. 10 seasons in the big leagues for Markakis. Better than .290. He used to be a power hitter in Baltimore, but the home run has vanished from his arsenal really here. Coming off a serious neck injury and a spine fusion surgery in the offseason. That's drained some of the power production. 3-1 now.
Yeah, neck surgery will tend to rob you of some of your power.
Yeah. Markakis this year, it took him 92 games to hit his first home run. That finally came July 20th against the Dodgers here. Ended a stretch of 356 at-bats without a homer.
You can see the aggressive nature of the swings we're seeing from these Braves hitters when they get ahead in the count. And so far, all 3 hitters have had a 3-1 count. I mean, this is a hack right here, lefty on lefty. Markakis was looking to do some damage right there.
3 balls to Peterson before he grounded out. He walked Maben on a 3-2 pitch. Now the 3-2 pitch to Nick Markakis. Maben takes off for second. Markakis knocks it in the seats. He may have the longest legs in baseball, Cameron Maben. Got those Spider-Man legs out there.
It seems to be a pretty safe bet to start the runner with Markakis at the plate. As you mentioned, doesn't strike out a whole lot. He will take his walks. Real good eye for the strike zone. A number of these Braves hitters will take their walks.
Maben hold. Oh, there he goes. Got a late jump. It's hit right to Nick Ahmed. Chris Owings turns the double play. And Robbie Ray is out of the inning. Hit hard, but right at Nick Ahmed. CO turned it. And we are through one at Turner Field. No score. 28 years old today. A look at our Lowe's Never Stop Improving player of the game, David Peralta. This is absolutely correct, Bob. He never does stop improving, it seems.
No, he doesn't. I mean, and we forget sometimes that this guy has only been a hitter full-time for 3 years. He's figuring it out rather quickly.
303 and 11 homers as he steps in to lead off the second against Julio Teheran. And that 303 mark, especially impressive when you consider that the batting average for the year has come up more than 50 points in just over 40 games. But down quickly 0-2. David has 11 hits in his last 15 at-bats as we begin the ball game tonight.
Yeah, there are some guys this time of season that really look forward to those off days. They're physically, maybe mentally beat up a little bit. Not David. He'd probably look for a batting cage somewhere he could go hit yesterday on the off day.
Well, he left Tuesday's win over the Phillies with tightness in his quad. Did not start Wednesday's game, but did have a pinch hit single. Plus that with the off day yesterday. So Chip Hale says they feel like David should be really good by this point. And that pinch single extended his hitting streak to 7 games.
And hopefully he talked to Chris Owings about how to effectively hit on your birthday. Chris Owings came in the ball game a couple days ago as a double switch. Got 2 at-bats in the ball game and 2 hits on his birthday.
Coming off a big homestand. Series wins against the Reds and the Phillies. Three and 2. Peralta behind in the count 0-2 has worked it back full.
And Teheran, a little frustration there as he reached down, grabbed a handful of dirt after that last delivery to Peralta, a slider that just didn't take any break at all.
Teheran has gone 3-2 to 3 of the first 4 Diamondback batters. So both these guys, Robbie Ray and Julio Teheran, throwing a lot more pitches than they'd like to start the ball game. And we mentioned at the top of the show the command has been an issue for Julio Teheran this year. Not nearly what it was last season when he played in the All-Star game. He strikes out Peralta. Second strikeout for Teheran. 1 down in the second.
That's when Teheran was at his best the first couple go-rounds at the major league level. High four-seam fastballs, a good straight changeup, and that hard slider down low in the zone.
And when Teheran last year pitched so well, he walked 51 batters all season. When he walked Inciarte to lead off the ball game, that was his 51st walk this season. Strike 1 to Wellington Castillo. Beef Wellington, 249, 15 homers. 13 of those home runs have come as a Diamondback.
You know, normally, partner, we go into a new ballpark first game of the series and we alert fans to possible adventures depending on the playing conditions, the nooks and crannies. Don't have to worry about it so much here.
This is a uniform ballpark.
I prefer vanilla, yeah. I mean, it's really a nice field, and the stadium's nice. The amenities for the fans are tremendous, but the field itself really doesn't offer any unusual challenges where you have to alert your outfielders about a particular area of the field or alert your corner infielders about foul territory. It's just a very basic ballpark with no nooks and crannies.
Well, Julio Teheran has now struck out 3 in a row.
Hard sweeping slider starts it almost right in the middle of the plate, and by the time AJ gets to it, it's off the plate low and away. Swinging strike 3.
Brings up Jake Lamb. Jake hitting .279, 4 home runs. This ballpark, Turner Field, of course, was the Olympic facility back in 1996, and then they converted it after the games into the Braves' new yard, and now they are building a brand new ballpark in the northern suburbs. We are just south of the city, south of downtown here. And the new one is going to be, well, basically on the other side of the perimeter here, as they call it, up north.
That's good, because that's where we stay.
Well, we stay in the Buckhead part of town, and we're probably at any other time of day maybe a 10 or 15 minute drive. It took 55 minutes in that Atlanta traffic, and that's been the issue here, getting to this ballpark. If you're north of the city, which most people are, you have to go through downtown to get here, and it is not fun. Jake Lamb shoots one toward the gap in right center, and it drops in there, rolls all the way to the wall. And Jake Lamb will stop at second. He's in there with a 2-out double, his 10th of the year.
Little 2-out lightning there from Jake Lamb. Picks on a Julio Teheran fastball up and out over the plate. That quick, short, abbreviated follow-through. Boy, for me, when you see Jake chop off his follow-through like that, that's when he really backspins the ball, gets good carry on those line drives. In scoring position here with 2 outs for Chris Owings.
And CO, who grew up in Gilbert, South Carolina, not too far away from here, has a whole bunch of friends and family in the ballpark with us. .235, 3 home runs, and really swinging the bat well right now, the best he has all season. Chris has hit safely in 4 straight. He's got 3 consecutive multi-hit games, 7 for his last 17. That has been the kryptonite, chasing those breaking balls down and away. And if he could stop doing this, he'd really make some strides. That's the pitch that has got him all year long.
And coincidentally, when he swings at that slider low and away, watch his back foot. We talked about it a little bit earlier this season that occasionally Chris loses his base. Watch his right foot as he swings at this pitch. Comes off the ground and goes way back toward that back corner of the batter's box. Anytime that much of your body is moving away from the pitch that's going the other way, you have no chance to reach that ball.
And even he admits he's been coming out of the zone a little bit too much lately. Lays off a fastball up and away there. And he's trying to adjust with that new 2-hand follow through. We've talked about that, to help protect that surgically repaired shoulder. 2-2.
I think a big key for Chris recently, when he has been hitting the ball well, is when he gets fastballs in the strike zone, he's rarely missing them. Hitting that ball hard, driving it to all parts of the ballpark. I think any hitter will tell you that's a big key to any success you're going to have, is when you get a strike, make sure you hit it hard.
Turner Ward, the hitting coach, worked a lot with CO this year. It's full 3-2 one more time. And he had a very good homestand in the 6 games against the Reds and Phillies, 7 for 21.
And CO pulling a Goldie here in this at bat. Goes from 0-2 to 3-2.
Now Chris Owings doing Goldie things. That's a good sign. And he strikes out on that same pitch, and they strand the 2-out double. No score in Atlanta.
Robbie Ray out there on the mound tonight for the Diamondbacks. Give us a moment to take a look at our Valley Honda dealer keys to the game. And, of course, anytime you're in Atlanta, you want to stop the chop. Oh, just as we mentioned it, they started here at the ballpark. And they honored John Smoltz here tonight for his induction into Cooperstown. But we like our Hall of Famer better than your Hall of Famer.
And John Smoltz will join us here in our booth in the top of the third inning. Honored before the ball game today. His number retired. In the same Hall of Fame class with Randy Johnson on John Smoltz bobblehead night. Johnny Gomes leads off the Atlanta second against Robbie Ray. Johnny Gomes, 211 and 5 homers, just 16 RBIs all season. And he started only about 40 games for the Braves this year. Now this is one of the more entertaining guys to watch. Gamer's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but this guy, boy, he's not messing around. He's here to play ball.
That little thing he does with his batting helmet right before he gets ready to face the next Robbie Ray delivery, kind of juggles it back and forth and then pushes it against his brow as he pushes the bill of the cap up to make sure his eyes are wide open.
96-mile-an-hour fastball misses, and once again Robbie Ray has fallen behind in counts. He's down 3 balls and a strike.
All 4 hitters he's faced have found themselves in that favorable 3-1 count.
That is not a recipe for success. His second walk of the ball game. He walks Gomes to lead off the second. Well, here's a guy that's really had a good year. A.J. Pierzynski, 296 and 7 homers at the age of 38. And really swing the bat well lately, too. Hitting nearly 370 since the 4th of July. Just had a 13-game hitting streak snapped on Sunday. And he starts him off with ball 1.
And one thing about A.J. Pierzynski, he is going to put the ball in play. He rarely strikes out. He rarely takes a walk. He has great hand-eye coordination. He will put the ball in play. I mean, this season in 301 at-bats coming into play tonight, he'd only struck out 28 times. He'd only walked 14.
Signed as a free agent with Atlanta in January. Opened last year in Boston. Got released last July. Signed 10 days later with the Cardinals and finished up in St. Louis. 1-2. Parts of 18 seasons in the big leagues, a lifetime average of 282. And the foul balls continue to plague Robbie Ray, extending those at bats, driving those pitch counts up. And that's a big reason why Chip Hale has talked about the idea that they'd like Robbie to use that changeup and that slider deeper into the count and not be so fastball reliant once he gets ahead.
That's usually about the opposite of what most pitchers do. Generally, if guys get ahead in the count, they try to expand the zone with that breaking pitch or bounce a changeup in the dirt to see if you can't get that hitter to chase.
Goldie steps on the bag, and there's the tag on Gomes. Double play for the Diamondbacks. Their second one tonight. As soon as Goldie steps on the bag at first, it's no longer a force play. That means Nick Ahmed has to apply the tag.
Yeah, it makes it a tougher play for Nick, and Goldie's throw a little bit of a short hop, but as always, Nick able to pick it out of the dirt, quickly get that tag in front of the base in time to complete that double play.
Well, here's a guy that's become a little bit of a cult hero this year in Atlanta. Adonis Garcia, a 30-year-old rookie. And he rolls it over the mound. Nick Ahmed behind the bag. What a play by Nick. So 2 ground balls get Robbie Ray out of the inning after the leadoff walk. Nick Ahmed ranging way over there by the second base bag to throw out Adonis Garcia. No score after 2. John Smoltz joins us next. Nick Ahmed will lead off the third inning against Julio Teheran. John Smoltz, we were told would be here in our booth, but the Braves guys are extending their visit.
They're keeping him as a starting pitcher. We just get him as the closer. So
he was pretty good either way.
Yeah.
So we'll have hopefully John in the bottom half of this inning. So after that great play to end the bottom of the second, it's Ahmed to lead off the top of the third. Against Julio Teheran, who's already got 4 strikeouts. Ahmed 222 and 7 home runs. We also anticipate that over the course of the ballgame, we will talk to D-backs Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa from Japan. Wow. The contingent is over there. Derek Hall, President and CEO. Gonzo, Randy Johnson, our Hall of Famer, all over there in Japan for some meetings. So we'll talk to TLR about that and find out what's going on over there. All kinds of Hall of Famers on the broadcast tonight.
All guests.
Julio Teheran. That's 5 strikeouts. He has struck out 5 of the last 6 batters he's faced. 1 away in the third.
Throwing that first pitch, strike 2. Other than the leadoff man, Ender Inciarte, he's gone strike 1 looking on every D-backs hitter to start the at-bat.
Robbie Ray. This reaches over and knocks it fair. Adonis Garcia long throw. 2 down. Brings up Ender Inciarte, who walked to lead off the ball game.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks victory, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Ender coming off a 3-hit game Wednesday against the Phillies. And he's played in 25 games since he came off the DL with that hamstring injury and hit .325.
I predict we will see a bunt on Adonis Garcia down there at third base tonight. I was thinking it would either be Chris Owings or Nick Ahmed at the bottom because Garcia plays fairly deep for guys that will bunt for a base hit. Not so much on the left-handed hitting Inciarte, but the 2 righties at the bottom of the order, Owings and Ahmed, he was a couple 3 steps behind the bag down there.
Garcia has played in only 19 games with the Braves this year. They just traded Chris Johnson to Cleveland to get Bourne and Swisher. 3-2.
Yeah, you would think the Diamondbacks would want to test him out a little bit, see what the young man's made of down there at third base. Can he make a play on a well-bunted ball on the third base side? And if so, maybe you don't try it again.
Hits it right to him. Garcia. They're on, rolling along. He's retired 4 in a row. No score at Turner Field. Hall of Famer John Smoltz along the way, the Hall of Famer and Braves honoree tonight, joins us in the booth. Congratulations.
Thank you. That's something that'll never, ever sink in. I don't know. That's pretty cool. I can't lie.
You did the lap around the whole ballpark in the car, waving to the fans, and then a lovely speech right at the pitcher's mound.
Yeah, I was just saying to Joe and Chip over in the other booth that it seems like yesterday. It really does. This was my home along across the street for over 20 years. Something a lot of players won't get a privilege of doing anymore, it seems like, playing that long for one team. But what a treat, and certainly never forget it.
Randy Johnson, we had him in our booth, and we honored him very much the way you were honored here tonight. And he said the second speech in his home ballpark was a lot easier than Cooperstown. What was it like for you?
Well, you know, that part for a player never gets old. You don't even know that you're going to get one opportunity to stand before crowds who, again, a lot of these people have grown up in an era where now they're watching a different style of baseball, but back then it was unbelievable. In 1991, we set this town on upside down and did it for 14 years. So whenever you get a chance to honor them and thank them, because this is my home, I'll be here unless I go somewhere else or the job calls somewhere else. This is 25 years and counting.
And the job is MLB Network, so this is nothing for you, the headset.
No, the headset, no. I've often threatened to take a few of them with me on the plane because they sound so much better. But no, it's this game and following this game and seeing the organizations like Arizona and Atlanta rebuild and try to get back to the levels they once had. And I'll be honest, I didn't see this coming this soon with Arizona and the way that they've competed and put a club together. And on the outside a little bit, probably long shot to try to make a move, but you can see how much closer they're going to be next year.
Yeah, we got our own Hall of Famer running things now, Tony La Russa, and he and his group have done a tremendous job here, and it's been a lot of fun to watch this year.
Really has. One of the greatest superstars that not the whole country knows. I'm a big fan of Goldschmidt. I think it's what every player should want to strive to be, and what a stud.
How would you get him out?
Very carefully. Don't even.
Andrelton Simmons knocks it into center field. First base hit for the Braves. Randy has talked a lot about working with some of the Diamondbacks minor league pitchers. We saw you today, in fact. I think we have some video of that, in fact. You're working in the bullpen with some of the Braves.
Yeah, Roger McDowell had asked me when I could fit in my schedule, and today actually worked out pretty good. And, you know, I wish I could put a uniform on. I wish I could throw to show them some of the things. But being able to pass on experience to the young, you know, what they're trying to do here is re-equip their arms. Their minor leagues got thin, and of course the club is a little thin now, so they're stockpiling on some arms, and it's just neat to see guys want to have that experience to learn and nothing else, be willing to hear some things that, you know, we were able to do.
Got to ask you, what'd you shoot? It looked like it came right from the golf
You're
course.
Right. Yeah, right. It's funny because today I had a challenge match of only using 3 clubs.
Oh.
And we're all the way back. And one guy that I unfortunately played is a touring pro, and he shot 1 under, which I still think is unbelievable. And kicked my butt.
What clubs you go with?
I went with Rescue 7-iron and 52. I putted with the Rescue and lipped out all day.
Jake Lamb fields the bunt off the bat of Teheran. They move Simmons along for the second out.
But he went with driver 8-iron putter. He actually used a putter, so he had 2 clubs. I mean, I know the putter's part of the club.
Well, you can crush it. That's all you need, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, what was this day like? Do you look at it? You've obviously had some perspective now here. How do you look at it?
It's unreal, and I'm so honored to be with those 4 guys. I mean, it's the perfect analogy, as I said, about what 3 pitchers, 3 different sizes, all did things in a unique way. And, you know, I will forever be linked with them. I know I'm forever linked with Maddox and Glavine, rightfully so. But the way it worked out, it was so unique to have this class, a unique and very, well, the most players since, however, 50 years ago, whatever the numbers say. I'm just blown away. I mean, I never pitched against Randy Johnson. I can't believe
That's amazing.
That, to me, is amazing. I've seen him my whole career. We cross-pass in the minor leagues. I've seen him in his wild days, the domination. Pitched against Pedro. Wish that wouldn't have happened a few too many times. And competed like heck against Biggio, a guy you just admired from afar and wished you could have been a teammate of his.
And no disrespect to Craig Biggio, but you go in with one of the great pitcher classes of all time. There's no question about that.
And again, you know, everyone's quest to try to have us 3 go together. There was never talk with the 3 of us, when are you going to retire? When is this going to happen? It all uniquely happened.
Well, Jace Peterson rolls one down the right field line. It's in the corner. This is going to get Simmons home from second. Inciarte has a problem in there, and Peterson is in at third. It's 1-0 Braves.
Yeah, certainly being inducted into the Hall of Fame, John, gives you an opportunity to reflect on your career and everything. I want to ask you about one specific moment, and the anniversary just passed recently when you were traded from the Tigers here to the Braves.
That's right.
For Doyle Alexander. You were a young player at the time. What do you remember of that day?
I was devastated.
Yeah?
I'm a Tiger fanatic, grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and I just felt like I was 5-11. I was struggling, and I thought, here is a situation I'm not wanted. And instead of being wanted by somebody else and an opportunity, for the longest time, I never looked at the opportunity. I just looked at the devastation of being traded. And when I got to Richmond, Virginia, I got an opportunity to see I'm closer to the big leagues, even though I know when you get traded for a major leaguer, you got to go up one level. In the pitching desperation that the Braves needed, it was the greatest thing in the world that happened for me. And I've never met Doyle Alexander. I'd give him a hug if I saw him.
Bob used to catch him.
I caught him a little bit early on in my career when he was with the San Francisco Giants. So
crafty guy,
crafty.
And he did his job for the Tigers. Went 9-1, actually 9-0 in the one game he lost against the Twins in the playoffs. But I rooted for that whole scenario to play out. And then at some point I went, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going to have to live up to my end of the bargain. Fortunately, I was able to do that, and they gave me the opportunity of a lifetime.
How about this team right now? And you're around the team a lot, as you said. They're in a transition here. There's a new stadium coming up in 2017. It seems like they're trying to clear some payroll up until then and tread water in the meantime. What about the direction of Atlanta?
Well, what they've done is the most impossible thing I've ever seen. Get out from contracts, save money, rebuild with young pitchers, and try to find the diamond in the rough, if you will, because the unknown is the guy like me that gets traded. You don't know. It's unproven. And I think what they've been able to do is shorten their window of not winning by 2 years. And that's huge. If you talk to anybody in baseball, I don't think anyone could have taken on this task like John Hart and done what he did. Now, he's taken some PR hits. I mean, the fan base, they've lost a lot of attendance. They got a new stadium coming in 2 years. And I think the timing could be perfect, not only for the new stadium.
Cameron Maybin drops it into right center for the RBI hit. It rolls all the way to the wall, and Maybin is flying into third. Back-to-back RBI triples for Atlanta. 2-0 Braves. I mean, Cameron Maybin is a good example there, John. They've got quality major league guys here. It's not like they're fielding a Washington Generals in the meantime.
Right, but this is a good example of a kid that now may have a longer future, because that trade was like a wash when you talk about the value that they gave him and the swapping of players. Not that Maybin is, by any stretch, it just hasn't clicked in yet for him until this year. And so now all of a sudden, this kid has put in a great work ethic. He's played center field marvelously, and he's hitting. So those are the things you're going to find when you make this many moves, and the direction of fans are sitting here going, I don't see A plus B is going to equal C. Well, in 2 years, I think you will. And that really, this is the most moves you can make in 1 year, and still for the longest time be somewhat competitive, right? And they've reshape the clubhouse. You know what that's like to have a clubhouse that may not be clicking in certain ways, and players see things differently. So they've got a good situation here, and I think it's going to get better if these young arms that they traded for continue to develop.
The stadium, people who aren't here and don't go through the traffic and go through the experience of getting to this ballpark go, whoa, hold on. Ballpark's not that old. They need another new one already.
I know. It's a shame, but I understand it. This is a beautiful ballpark. One of the best in the game, in my opinion, from a fairness standpoint. But it's hard, yes, to get here, but it's even harder to stay here. And I think when I say that is there's not a lot around the ballpark. It's not driving people to come early, leave late. And to be quite honest, the Braves did not have much control over this at all. The city owned it because of the Olympics, transformed it into this stadium. They're going to have an opportunity in just as much traffic, maybe more.
Up in Vinings, right?
But yeah, it's going to drive people there, though. To get early, stay late. They're going to have unbelievable amenities, up to 20 different restaurants and all kinds of different things around the park.
Yeah, it's not just a ballpark, it's a whole deal, right?
Yeah, and I think for this city, and it's well known for its traffic, and that's going to be very important. Smaller, quaint stadium. I was excited. Not a lot of people are excited to know the stadium's actually going to be a little bigger, beating the playing service. And drove some hitters. Yeah. Drove some hitters a little crazy. But if you're going to build with young pitchers, I mean, that's I'm sure that had something to do with it. But it's all come in a way where people are like, what is happening? And they'll see in 2 years why I think this has all had its purpose.
Now, this is where you get into people talking about their vision for the future. You know, and sometimes that vision is realized and it becomes everything you expect it to be. I think of San Francisco moving from Candlestick up to AT&T Park. That was a really depressed area of town.
Right.
But if you go there now, it's one of the most vibrant places in the city.
I think of that in Colorado, where they built around that city and revitalized it. And you know, they tried different things here. Ted Turner, I think, one of the greatest owners. I obviously played my whole career. He was a downtown guy. He wanted everything down here. He wanted it driving towards this junction. But there's no good ways in and out. And
it's not fun.
No. And so even though it's only like, 12 miles, I think, from here, the new stadium's going to be something like that, it's still at the epicenter of where everything is coming in. And those people who were up there, maybe not wanting to come here, will have the opportunity to make that choice.
Can you do us a favor? Get them to leave the tomahawk chop here. Don't take it north.
I know. I was just thinking about 91 when that thing went rampant.
Little tapper back to the mound off the bat of Markakis. Robbie Ray throws him out, but the Braves get two to take a 2-0 lead. Hall of Famer John Smoltz with us. John, congratulations and thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Good luck to you guys. Yep.
Braves 2-0 as Robbie Ray struggled through that Atlanta third, and now Julio Teheran has a 2-0 lead as A.J. Pollock leads off the fourth. Thanks again to Hall of Famer John Smoltz for joining us here in our broadcast booth. He's making the rounds here, doing TV and radio on the night he's honored by the Braves after his Hall of Fame induction last month.
How about this? While John Smoltz is in the booth, the Braves banged out 2 triples in that inning. They only had 12 all season long coming into play tonight, and had 2 of them back-to-back in that last inning.
A Hall of Fame pitcher in here that's supposed to take care of the offense. Guess not.
Yeah, this is a good triples ballpark. 390 to the gap in right center field, 380 to the gap in left center. That's a lot of room to cover if that ball splits the outfielders.
A.J. quickly down 0-2. Teheran so far has given up only 1 hit. A 2-out double by Jake Lamb in the second. He's walked 1. He's got 5 strikeouts. Pretty good day for John Smoltz. He goes and plays golf with 3 clubs. Comes over here, works for 40 minutes in the bullpen with the Braves pitchers.
In his loafers.
Is honored here with a lap around the ballpark, a speech to the stadium, and now he spends the whole night doing TV. What do you do tomorrow?
Well, you know he's going to play golf again. Book that.
Pitchers. Oh, the pitchers, they have too much time to play golf.
Well, that's why I thought John Smoltz would fight a little harder to stay in the starting rotation as a starting pitcher, because you've got 4 days off between starts, whereas a closer, you might pitch 3 or 4 days in a row. So that really had to mess with his golf.
Well, that was a result of the Tommy John surgery, and he talked, as you mentioned, Bob, a lot about that in his Hall of Fame speech, about the dangers of young baseball players, teenagers, throwing too many pitches in competition and not playing other sports and other seasons and just throwing a ball around in the yard.
Yeah, just playing catch, throwing a football, throwing a frisbee, you know, doing other things with your arm other than competing at a max effort every time you throw the baseball.
2-2 on Pollock. This is lifted out to center field, and Cameron Maben. 5 in a row set down by Tehran. And this group, the 3 of them, as he mentioned, there was never any orchestrated idea of retiring together and all going in together. Bobby Cox as well. In the end, it didn't really matter. They're all in there, and that's what's important.
Man. I mean, you just imagine going into a series back in the day against the Braves, and even if you were lucky enough to miss 2 of those guys, you were going to get at least 1 of them every series, sometimes 2, sometimes all 3 of them.
And they would always go out and get other veteran starting pitchers to complement the core group in there when they needed an arm or 2.
Steve Avery and Denny Nagel, others that kind of came in for a year or 2 and ate up some innings. But it was the big 3 at the top that kept them where they were for 14 consecutive seasons.
0-2 to Goldie, who struck out his first time. Still looking for his first career hit against Julio Tehran. Tehran has had his number. We saw John Smoltz's number along the facade here at Turner Field, right next to Chipper Jones, who we were lucky enough to be here a couple of years ago when Chipper's number was retired. So we've had some good luck in our dates at Turner Field. Lines it right to Peterson, 2 down. It's the second time of the ball game a D-backs hitter has lined one right to a Braves infielder. Remember, Pollock laced one right to Garcia at third back in the first.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Peralta struck out his first time up. Popped it up behind the plate and in the seats. Two and one.
Yeah, John Smoltz talking about the rebirth, if you will, of the Braves starting in '91 when they had that incredible playoff run year after year after year. And a lot of people don't remember that before that at Turner Field, you could get to, 40,000 tickets walk-up day of game because they weren't drawing flies over there at Turner Field. Bad teams, a bad ballpark, hot and humid. They really had a hard time selling tickets for anybody to come out and watch the Braves. But then you get some good young players in there. You start winning some ball games. You start making some postseason appearances, and it becomes a habit.
It's full 3-2. You saw that 82 banner, a long row of Braves division champions. That was, they had those teams in the early 80s, Bob Horner and Dale Murphy and those guys. But you can see right there a decade-long gap. And there was not a whole lot in there in between 82 and 91. A 2-out walk for Peralta. Second walk issued by Julio Teheran.
Let's just put it this way. You never really had much post-game traffic problem leaving Fulton County Stadium. You could fit everybody into a couple of buses.
Well, from what I understand, and this came up earlier, you had one of the great moments in the history of that ballpark.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Every year we come back here, I hear about it. There's a member of the grounds crew here. His name is Kim Bodie, but everybody calls him Coach. And he's been here forever. And when I was coaching with the San Francisco Giants, I was responsible for hitting infield practice. Back when teams used to take infield practice. And you hit your grounders, third, short, second, all the way around. You turn a couple of double plays, and then the position players come off the field, and the two catchers are left. And the last thing you do is hit two pop-ups behind home plate to the catchers. So I threw the first ball up and skied it high in the air, and before it even got to its apex, I got another baseball and hit it up for the second catcher. Well, the first one went back and just cleared the screen behind home plate, and there was a gentleman sitting in the front row with a huge bucket of popcorn in his lap. And the first pop-up came down right in the middle of the bucket of popcorn. And popcorn flew everywhere, and people were laughing, and the gentleman stood up to brush the popcorn off his pants, and as he stood up, the second pop-up hit him in the head. Both of them in exactly the same seat behind home plate. And Coach Kim Bodie on the grounds crew never lets me forget it every time I come to town.
Had it not hit him in the head, if he didn't stand up, they both would have been in the bucket.
Absolutely.
What are the odds?
What was left of the bucket?
Well, that happened, and then they said, well, we have to build a new ballpark.
Yeah,
that's it.
I got to build a new ballpark. But, yeah, Kim Bodie, he tells people, he's been around a ballpark forever. He's seen some of the greatest moments in Atlanta Braves history. But when people ask him, what's the strangest thing you've ever seen at the ballpark, that's always his first answer.
1-2 on Beef Wellington.
Watch out. Well, once again, that top half opening up as that ball starts to sail up and in. You see the hands, wrists, everything exposed right there. Fortunately, Welly able to get on the ground and get out of the way that time.
Boy, those hands and wrists just turn into the baseball. And only bad things can happen. 2-2. Castillo strikes out. That's 6 strikeouts for Julio Teheran. He's got a 2-0 lead.
really couldn't find a spot. It was raining. Walked back to the mall, tried to find a spot. Like, conference room's not big enough, so we just went outside. Well, I heard last year that McCarthy threw in the conference room at one of the hotels on the road, so you got to do what you got to do.
Doesn't that take you back, though, to being 12 years old and just looking for a place to play?
Oh, man, just like on the sidewalk at home or somewhere just to throw a baseball, just to get some open area. But, yeah, it does take me back every time I play catch.
Steve, you know what it's like to grow up with weather being an issue in those rare summer days where you can play baseball and all of a sudden there's rain. You got to find a way, though. I'm sure that happened in Ohio, too, Bob, right?
Oh, it rained once in a while, yeah, no doubt about it.
Well, I lived in Atlanta for 3 years when I worked at CNN, and yesterday was one of those classic Atlanta late afternoon just thunder boomers that roll through here, and it's a monsoon for about 45 minutes, and it sounds like it came just at the wrong time for those guys. And for any of us who are caught walking back from the mall to the hotel and standing in the Target across the street like a dope waiting for it to stop.
Well, I was going to help you, but I actually wanted to play catch with those guys, so I made the run.
I don't blame you.
But they didn't want any part of it.
You know, I'm pretty sure they sell umbrellas at Target.
It occurred to me. Well, because that's the great dilemma. Do I stay? It's like 10 minutes because it's about to. You look in the sky and it's going to clear up any second now. Do I spend $20 on an umbrella to walk a block, or do I just wait? And then you end up standing there for 40 minutes like an idiot. So there I was. Could have been playing catch with Robbie Ray and Chase Anderson.
There you go.
Like Todd. Johnny Gomes leads off the fourth. He walked his first time up. And then, of course, as soon as it stops raining, it's beautiful.
That's part of the reason I left the Atlanta metropolitan area yesterday for the off day. We only had a few sprinkles where we were.
Boy, you guys really cleaned up. I saw the pictures. What a trip.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Now, how far outside Atlanta are you allowed to say? I know these fishing holes are top secret stuff.
Well, I can't give you the actual GPS settings, but it's between Forsyth and Barnesville, Georgia, right off of Interstate 75, about an hour south of here.
You go down fishing with them crazy Duke boys?
Yeah, I think the Duke boys live a little further on up the holler.
This is out to very short right field for Sowings. Now, this is the fishing trip that you went on with our unnamed staff member. That's not him. Who's that guy?
That's Dan McLeod. He's our boy. He's our connection down there in Forsyth that hooks us up with the various farmers that have ponds that will allow us to fish. That's one of the smaller bluegills we caught yesterday afternoon, and
look at that.
A lot of bass about that size. You know, no trophy fish, but a whole bunch of fish.
That's a great picture right there. Now, how long were you on the water?
Oh, about 10 hours.
10 hours.
Well, we got there around 11:30 in the morning and talked to Dan for a little while, got the boat in the water, and we briefly got out. We saw a little lightning, and, you know, we're not dummies. We got off the water until the lightning stopped. Spit a little bit of rain, not much at all, and then got right back on the boat again until it got dark around 9 o'clock last night.
That's dedication. I'll be Ray again behind 2-0. It's A.J. Przinsky.
Great way to waste an off day, that's for sure.
Well, we always like to see the pictures. So you guys must have rolled back to the hotel around, 11, 12?
It was about a little after 10 o'clock last night. Fortunately, there's no video of when I tried to jump out of the boat.
I heard about this. Didn't go well.
Not well at all.
Well, as they say in Apocalypse Now, stay in the boat. Third walk issued by Robbie Ray. What happened now?
It just a slip, you know. I was in the front of the boat, so I jumped out first with the rope, ready to tie it off on the shore there, and I stepped in a little slick spot. Foot slid into the mud. My knee banged off the side of the boat, and started to go down face first on top of the electric trolling motor. Unfortunately, was able to catch myself at the last instant. But, you know, then I was like that dummy in the videos where, you know, I've got my hands on the boat and my feet on the shore and the boat's drifting away. But we managed to pull it back together.
Adonis Garcia. Garcia grounded out his first time. Just 19 games with the Braves this year. He's got 17 big league hits, but 4 of them are home runs.
And 4 more doubles, so nearly half of his hits so far have gone for extra bases.
One of his home runs was a walk-off to beat the Giants here August 3rd, bottom 12th. So he's become a little bit of a cult hero. Some surprising power, especially the other way. He will go to right center and right field. He knocks this out to left. Peralta coming in. Won't get there. Brzezinski stops at second. A walk and a single with 1 out.
He must have hit a knuckleball out there to left field, judging from the way that ball reacted. It looked like it had a chance to carry into the gap in left center. Peralta got a pretty good jump on it and then has to veer back. It was changing directions as it got over the shortstop position. Occasionally when a guy squares it up and hits the ball with no spin at all, it will react like a knuckleball out there in the outfield.
So 2 on, 1 out for Nick Swisher, who flied out his first time up. Swisher, bad knees and all, acquired along with Michael Bourne from the Indians for Chris Johnson. In a trade last week, he is just 1 for 13 so far with the Braves. Bounce to third. Jake Lamb for 1. Chris Owings for 2. And Robbie Ray gets another double play to get out of trouble. And through 4, the Diamondbacks trail the Braves 2-0. Baseball officer Tony La Russa, Luis Gonzalez, Randy Johnson among a Diamondbacks contingent in Japan in some meetings with some Japanese baseball officials, and Hall of Famer Tony La Russa joins us now on the air from Japan. Tony, how are the meetings going?
Well, we're having a good, this is our second full day, and in fact, we're just, the bullet train, Hiroshima to Fukuoka is just getting here. We're getting ready to get off, and in a few minutes we'll be going over to see Sotohara O and watch a ball game. But last night we were in Hiroshima. It's going to be a little louder now because I'm walking out into the terminal. It's been very productive. We've met the Hiroshima Carp, their general manager and their owner last night.
And, wow, how about that? A live phone call from a bullet train in Japan. This is big league stuff. Tony, what's the purpose of all these meetings in Japan?
Yeah, it got real loud here all of a sudden. You can say it against me to start.
You bet. What are the Diamondbacks trying to accomplish here with the meetings in Japan? I think we lost him.
Maybe we can try calling back and get a bit of
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We'll try Tony back in a few minutes. He's on the bullet train.
Yeah,
maybe.
just getting off of the bullet train, probably in some kind of a terminal or tunnel or something like that. So hopefully he'll get a chance to give us a call back when he gets a better line.
Jake Lamb leads off the 5th. But the Diamondbacks contingent meeting with the Nippon Professional Baseball Commissioner's Office, MLB Japan. Several front offices over there talked about the Hiroshima Carp. And they're going to meet the great Japanese home run hitter Sandohara Oh.
How about that?
That's a real honor. And this is, believe it or not, Tony La Russa's first trip over there. Gonzo and Randy Johnson have both been over there as part of previous All-Star tours.
And you can be pretty sure that regardless of the reason for the meetings in Japan, there will be some scouting going on. They've always got their eyes open, always looking for talent everywhere they go.
Well, Hisashi Iwakuma for the Mariners did just throw a no-hitter the other day. So go over there and find us a pitcher. Jake Lamb strikes out. That's 7 strikeouts for Julio Teheran.
We talked about it at the top of the show, that elevated four-seamer. You see the velocity is only 91. Teheran's not overpowering with that heater, but when you can throw it up there at the top of the strike zone, perhaps a little bit higher, it's tough to catch up with.
Chris Owings, a strikeout victim, his first time.
There's that bunt attempt we were speculating on first time through the order. You might as well check on the guy down there at third base, see if Adonis Garcia can field a bunt, throw you out at first base, and if he does, then you put that in the scouting file. And if you're able to bunt successfully and he has issues picking up slow rollers down that third base line, you may have found something.
Well, most of Julio Teheran's issues have come away from Turner Field, Bob. As you mentioned, here at home, 5-1 with a 2.52, but on the road, an ERA of 6 3/4. It's a fly ball out to right center for Maben. 2 down. Here's Nick Ahmed.
We heard John Smoltz talking about this ballpark being fair for pitchers, and I can't argue with that. I think you'd like to pitch in this ballpark. I mentioned earlier, 380 to the gap in left center, 390 to the gap in right center, so there's a lot of room to bail out there if you can get hitters to hit the ball to the big part of the park.
The command has been much better for Teheran tonight. He's walked only 2. He's got 7 strikeouts. Ahmed struck out his first time up. So far, still just 1 hit for the Diamondbacks. The Jake Lamb 2-out double back in the 2nd inning. Ahmed bidding for another one here. It's a fly ball out to Markakis at the track at the wall, and he's got it for the 3rd out. We'll try Tony La Russa again here in a minute as we place another call to Japan. Diamondbacks trailing 2-0.
Yeah, need some more quarters.
Braves 2-0, set for the bottom of the 5th inning. And Bob Brenly's put some more quarters in the phone, and we have Tony La Russa back with us from Japan. Tony, we mentioned earlier when you were with us a moment ago about all the meetings the Diamondbacks are having with Japanese baseball officials. What is the purpose of the trip and the meetings?
Well, we have several objectives. One of them, obviously, is to spread the Diamondback brand. You know, we're very interested in being able to compete for players and pitchers that would be successful in the States, especially playing at the major league level. Along with that, you know, we're going to be, I think we're going to see it. Well, I'm here. See a total of about 6 games. We're going to see one this afternoon here in Fukuoka, and then take the bullet train back to Hiroshima to see a game tonight where one of the top-rated pitchers, Maeda, is pitching. But, you know, we're going to do some scouting. And then, because it is Major League Baseball and they have a goal of globalizing our game, we're going to do some work. And one thing in particular is a clinic on Monday, where Randy and Gonzo and myself are going to be doing some instructing.
Tony, what has the reaction been so far to Randy Johnson? I mean, Randy's not a guy that can kind of sneak into or out of a room, but I would assume over there in Japan he really stands out.
Well, what a great question. No, we literally walk behind him and nobody even sees us. I mean, I think Gonzo said last night, it's like the Beatles. You know, I mean, he is just a focal point. Instantly recognizable. He's been in Japan before, and now with the Hall of Fame status, he had a really neat. We got to Hiroshima yesterday, met with the press, and you know, they asked me a couple of questions. They were easy, and then went to Randy, and he said, "Well, I'm actually here to pitch to start tonight's game." And everybody broke up and showed a lot of personality. But he's really popular.
I understand, Tony. This is your first trip there. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
What are your
several times with the all?
What are your impressions?
Because of the family. Well, I heard so much about it. It's very impressive in terms of the culture, and always heard about the cleanliness. It's amazing. People are very courteous. You know, yesterday we went to the Hiroshima Peace Museum, so trying to learn as much as we can about, as much as I can, about what a culture, what life is like here in Japan. But I will tell you one thing: the most amazing awareness I've had. We went to a ball game last night, and for 9 innings, there was just incredible enthusiasm and music and people cheering for both sides. Yokohama played against Hiroshima, man. There was 30,000 people there. It was jammed, and it was electric. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I have seen the video in some of the documentaries, the one that somebody did, I think it was ESPN, on Bobby Valentine when he was managing the Chibalote Marines. It's like a college football game or your international soccer game, a baseball game in Japan. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I knew they were going to have a big crowd. The crowd arrived early, but once we were approaching the first pitch, you know, I think there's an etiquette that whoever's batting, that side makes a lot of noise. So you hear music, bands, and people have these organized cheers that are going on throughout. And, you know, we were in Hiroshima, so they had a bigger audience. And I was really impressed with it. Everybody, I mean, all around the stadium was doing the same cheering. It was very enthusiastic, and also a bunch of little kids. There was really a family-type atmosphere, which is great for, you know, ensuring that the popular game goes generation to generation. But a lot of fun. I was excited.
Tony, how long are you guys going to spend over there in Japan before you return to Arizona?
I'm going to cut it a couple of days short. I want to, you know, it doesn't feel normal to be away from the team. I'm going to try to get there for Tuesday night in Pittsburgh, but they stayed through Wednesday. They have a couple other games the next 2 days that I'm going to miss. But believe me, you know, we're trying to be as active and see as much as possible. Josh and Mac have come up with a real good itinerary.
Well, Tony, we want to thank you for taking time out. I know you're at a train station, so this wasn't the easiest interview. We appreciate it and look forward to hearing more about the trip.
Well, go get some runs, will you? We need to win this game.
You betcha. Tony La Russa, thanks very much.
All right, Bob. See you.
Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa live from Japan. That was pretty impressive. We're worldwide here. Andrelton Simmons, a leadoff single. Julio Teheran bunted him over to second, and now it's 1-2 on Chase Peterson, the leadoff man.
You know, Tony talking about the enthusiasm and the flag waving and the music playing at the Japanese professional games over there. And I mentioned the story before when the New York Mets and the Cubs opened the season over in Japan. I think they were hoping for a similar atmosphere, but it was a considerably different crowd than a regular Japanese league game. They had a lot of high rollers and sponsors, and you know, the people that wave the flags and blow the horns were left on the outside, so it didn't quite create the same kind of atmosphere I think everybody was hoping for that initial opening day over in Tokyo.
Those corporate fat cats.
Yeah.
2-2 on Peterson. Well, it just, I think, goes to show you that this front office and this organization will not rest. They will literally comb the globe looking for talent, looking to improve the brand and the product on the field. Now that takes a lot of initiative in the middle of the season to drop everything and fly to Japan for a week-long tour for meetings and scouting. 3-2. Well, that's the fourth walk tonight issued by Robbie Ray, and the Braves have 2 on and 1 out for Cameron Maybin.
Now, Robbie's been able to pitch around all 3 of the walks so far in the ball game leading up to this one with the double play to follow.
Mike Harkey. Well, we have a moment. Let's remind you, now is the time, fans. Tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. That's AZDataStrongFan. And you might see your photo on our Diamondbacks TV broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Bobby has had 3 double play balls hit behind him for the most part whenever he's been in trouble, except for the 3rd inning, when the Braves had back-to-back RBI triples, but he's got 3 double plays turned behind him by this Diamondback infield.
Yeah, after a walk in the first, he got a double play ball, a leadoff walk in the 2nd inning. They get the tough 3-6 double play right there to get out of further trouble, and then again in the 4th inning, after a walk and a single, he gets the double play ball.
Down 2-0. Andrelton Simmons is the runner at second. Chase Peterson at first. Cameron Maybin has walked and tripled. Diamondbacks bullpen gets busy. The lefty Andrew Chafin has started throwing. There's Andrew Chafin. Cameron Maybin traded by the Padres to Atlanta as part of the Craig Kimbrell deal, April 5th, right on the eve of the season's opening night. And he's hit very well in this ballpark this year. Play on at second. Simmons has got that cast on there to protect that thumb. He recently missed about a week.
And no, it wasn't diving into a base. This one was actually on a defensive play, trying to catch a pop-up roaming out into the outfield, and landed awkwardly on that right thumb.
Yeah, an MRI showed a pretty nasty bone bruise, and he missed 6 games. Just came back last weekend. 1-1 on Maybin. Play on at first. They've got Peterson picked off, but he scampers back to the bag in time. The throw from Wellington Castillo wasn't quite accurate enough to get Peterson, who wandered way too far off the bag.
Yeah, the timing off just a little bit. Goldie, if he gets to the base just a hair quicker on this play, might have a chance to make the adjustment and still get the tag on. Well, you saw Goldie grab the back of his right hamstring there as he kind of awkwardly got over to the bag to cover. He waved off the training staff in that third base dugout, said he was okay.
It stays 2-1. Take another look at Goldie on that play.
shakes it off, but it makes you catch your breath for a moment when you see Paul Goldschmidt grab anything.
Except a bat.
Except a bat.
2-2. Another full count. Nick Markakis on deck. .82 pitches for Robbie Ray, only 44 strikes. 3-2 pitch. In the hole, and by a diving Nick Ahmed. Simmons will come in and score, and it's 3-0 Atlanta. Second RBI hit tonight for Cameron Maybin.
Looked like another slider that just didn't get to that back foot where he was hoping. And Maybin bangs it through that left side for an RBI base hit. But in my unofficial count, that's only the 10th slider that Robbie Ray has thrown in this ball game.
And here comes Chip Hale. That is going to be it for Robbie Ray. He walked 4, did not record a strikeout. He's given up 3 runs on 6 hits, responsible for 2 base runners. Andrew Chafin comes in back after this.
Arizona is brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter.
The varsity. Great onion rings there. We're in Atlanta. Diamondbacks trail the Braves 3-0. Robbie Ray lasts only 4 to third tonight. He is responsible for 2 base runners, and on in relief is the lefty Andrew Chafin.
And we were talking just the other day about Andrew Chafin and his under-the-radar Rookie of the Year campaign. Of course, he's not getting the same kind of notoriety of some of the more recognizable names, but among National League rookies, he's first in opponents' batting average, tied for first with saves, second in games, second in ERA, and tied for 5th in wins.
Well, he's got to pull something of a magic act here. 2 on, 1 out for the left-hand hitting Nick Markakis, who has twice grounded out, once into a double play. Markakis 10 RBIs in 10 games this month. And Markakis really hitting the ball well right now. He's batting .360 over his last 21 games.
And just to put a bow on Robbie Ray's evening, even though he's responsible for the runners on base, a 3-1 count to 6 of the first 12 batters he faced in this ball game.
You can't win like that.
No, you just can't. You give those hitters too many opportunities to swing aggressively at what should be a fastball strike on that 3-1 pitch.
You know, we've seen his fastball command, Bob, for the most part all year long, be very good. Might hang the occasional slider or miss with a changeup, but that fastball has always been there. Was not there tonight.
Not tonight. Just couldn't locate it the way he wanted, and because he was behind in the count so often, it kind of took his secondary pitches right out of the equation.
1-1 on Markakis. A bouncer to Goldie. Short hops it. Chafin covers. They get the second out. The runners move up. Brings up Johnny Gomes. Gomes has walked and popped out 0 for 1. He's up there with Peterson at third and Maben at second, 2 outs.
A potential pitch around situation here with the left-handed hitting A.J. Pierzynski in the on-deck circle. Even though A.J.'s having himself a good year and doesn't really seem to be bothered a lot by left-handed pitching, it would give you the lefty-on-lefty matchup.
Yeah, Pierzynski hitting under 240 this year when facing left-handers. See how they pitch to Gomes here. And they're going to walk him intentionally now, already behind in the count.
Yeah, talking about pitching around a hitter, a lesson I learned very early on in my major league career. I got the instructions from the bench, you know, pitch around this guy. We don't care if we walk him. So I went back behind the plate and called all breaking balls. My pitcher hung one, and the guy banged it in the gap for an RBI double. I learned very quickly that when you pitch around a guy, you go after him with the pitch you can control the best. Because the idea is you don't care if you walk him, but you want it to be close enough to the strike zone that maybe that guy will get himself out. So you throw the pitch you know you can hit your spot most consistently with, and for most pitchers that's a fastball. But when you talk about pitching around a hitter, everybody assumes, well, that means you throw breaking balls and splitters and change-ups in the dirt. Well, you throw whatever pitch you think you can command the best just off of that outside corner 4 times.
Pierzynski, you can see the splits here. Under 240 versus lefties, 310 against right-handers. All 7 of his homers have come against right-hand pitching. Bases loaded, 2 outs. First pitch swinging, shallow center. A.J. Pollock. And pitching around, Gomes works out for Andrew Chafin and the Diamondbacks, but the Braves add 1 more. They lead at 3-0.
baseball bat when John Smoltz was twirling around the field before the ceremony. Here's why.
His fastball was just something that I saw really, really well. I tried to hit off his fastball. I didn't want him to get to his breaking ball, but usually it was early in the count. I was trying to, first couple of pitches, I wanted to hit that fastball. He was going to try to get ahead, and I think the numbers show I hit it a lot. I'm going to invite him to go to dinner because I made a lot of money in this game because of John Smoltz.
Well, there you have it, guys. Somebody, sometimes you just own a guy, right, Bob? Sort of like Brad Hopp and Brandon Webb, which I promised Brandon I'd never bring up again, but it seems to work.
Yeah, sometimes there's no way to explain it either. Just something about the guy's delivery. You get a real good look at the ball, or you recognize it quickly out of his hand, or he makes a lot of mistakes only against you. You can't really explain it, but Gracie, he hit John Smoltz real good.
Jamie Romack will hit for Andrew Chafin in the pitcher spot, which leads off the Diamondbacks' sixth. Romack 3 for 8 with the D-backs so far, including an RBI double. So Chafin will be out of the ball game. Addison Reed warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Good job by Andrew Chafin to get Markakis to ground out, and then Pierzynski to fly out with the bases loaded to win that Atlanta threat. 3-0 Braves. They've out-hit the Diamondbacks 6-1. Hey fans, watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, a pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more on every night, every device. Visit MLB.TV for details. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. 2-2 on Romack. Signed by the Diamondbacks in November. And had a very good year at AAA Reno, playing for Phil Nevin. Adonis Garcia at third. One away. 5 in a row now, set down by Julio Teheran. This guy so far working on a one-hit shutout. About to throw pitch number 90 with one down in the sixth.
And beginning the third time through this Diamondbacks order. Hopefully they've garnered some information the first 2 trips through when they didn't have a lot of success against Teheran. But now that they've seen him twice, they should have seen all of his pitches by now. Should be very well aware of his release point, arm angle, all that good stuff. Hopefully break through here the third time through the order.
Ender Inciarte has walked and grounded out 0 for 1. Garcia comes in at third a bit. And Ender slaps it past Simmons. It's off the glove and into center field. Maven picks it up. Inciarte has a one-out single. Just the second hit for the Diamondbacks.
Well, that looked like a clean hit into center field, and Simmons very nearly ran it down up the middle of the field. It seems like every series we come in and talk about, boy, great pitching matchups, or you got 2 of the best first basemen in the game. Well, in this series, it's all about the defense at shortstop between these 2 guys.
Well, Simmons considered by many to be the very best defensive players in the game. A Gold Glove winner each of his last 2 seasons in Atlanta. Here's A.J. Pollock, who's 0 for 2. First pitch swinging, drives it out to left for Johnny Gomes. 2 down. If you want to look up defensive runs saved, one of the defensive analytics, Simmons is tied with Brandon Crawford of the Giants for the major league lead. It's one of the metrics that measures defensive performance for each position. Those are the 2 leading shortstops. The guy who's third in the major leagues is Nick Ahmed, right behind him. And then there's a big gap down to the rest of the shortstops in the big leagues. So these are indeed 2 of the best. 2 down for Goldie. He's 0 for 2. Lined one right to Jace Peterson at second his last time up. That one goes right through Pierzynski. Tehran yanked it over there in that left-hand batter's box, and Inciarte moves up.
That'll be ruled a wild pitch on Tehran. He just pulls that slider over in the batter's box. Not a great effort by A.J. Przinsky that time to block it. Just tried to reach across and pick it out of the dirt backhanded and got all the way through the backstop.
Well, A.J. Przinsky has shown in the past that he can actually frame those types of pitches for strikes.
He can be one of the best in the game.
Even when he's trying to fool the umpire. Breaking ball misses there. It's 2-1. This was earlier this month, right?
Yeah, August 3rd. Watch this.
Just hold it right there.
On a hop, he tries to frame a pitch. I don't think so, AJ. Nice try, though. If you can get a strike call on that, you are the best pitch framer in the history of baseball.
I mean, that's just a great sense of humor right there.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of the great personalities in the game, although it's a personality that rubs some people the wrong way, A.J. Przinsky, but he's usually having fun out there. 3-1 to Goldie. Three and 2. Got the call there from Paul Schreiber.
Looked like he took a little bit off that slider just to make sure he got it over the plate. Not a whole lot of hitters are going to try to tee up a 3-1 slider. They're probably going to take it and take their chances on the full count pitch.
Which is on its way. 2 outs, Inciarte at second. You were talking about A.J. Przinsky, and he likes to have some fun out there. He gets under the skin of some people. He played for Ozzie Guillen in Chicago, and Ozzie said, when you play against him, you hate him. If you play with him, you hate him a little less. He's one of those guys. Gets under your skin. Goldie slams that into left center. This will bring Inciarte home with the Diamondbacks' first run. And Paul Goldschmidt is in at second with his 28th double. It's 3-1.
And he's off the schneid against Julio Tehran. Mentioned he was 0 for 9 coming into play tonight, but gets a fastball up there about shoulder high and tomahawks it toward that gap in left center field. The outfielder's playing extremely deep for Goldie, so he easily turns the corner and turns that into a double.
Just the third hit for the D-backs, 2 of them in this inning. 3-1 ball game now. Here's Peralta, who has struck out and walked. Can't hold up there, 0-1. Peralta hitting .560 during what is now a 7-game hitting streak. .11 for his last 16 at the plate. Oh, 2. Julio Tehran really had a couple of bumpy rides there in the second and the fourth. He has walked 2 and struck out 7. Given up just 3 hits. 100 pitches, 63 for strikes. Atlanta bullpen is busy. Ross Detweiler, the former Washington National, the left-hander. David Aertsma, who's pitched for just about everybody, the veteran righty. #1 in the baseball encyclopedia. This is lifted in the air along the right field line. Markakis coming in. They strand Goldie at second, but the Diamondbacks get on the board. RBI number 84 for the National League leader. Bottom 6 on the way from Atlanta. Diamondbacks down 3-1. giveaway Saturday, September 12th at Chase Field. Diamondbacks and Dodgers first 10,000 fans 21 and older get this D-backs beer stein courtesy of Budweiser. Visit dbacks.com, get your tickets, get your beer stein, the whole thing, September 12th against those Dodgers. Bottom 6 here in Atlanta. Diamondbacks down 3-1. And Addison Reed on to work the 6th. They'll work to Garcia, Swisher, and Simmons. 6, 7, and 8 for the Braves. Strike one to Adonis Garcia, who has grounded out in single. He's 1 for 2. I got a message that we want to pass along, BB, from a very special person.
Okay.
As I often do, as Garcia grounds out to Ahmed, I was checking the Twitter during the commercial breaks, just see what's going on out there. And I got a message from Evan Marshall. And Evan says he is watching us from his hospital bed in Phoenix. Says, we look great. He says, you had way better hair than John Smoltz. But we want to, in all seriousness, wish Evan the absolute best. We're all praying for you, Evan. Evan, if you are not aware, was struck in his right temple by a line drive while pitching for the Reno Aces August 4th in a game in El Paso. Suffered a fractured skull, was placed in intensive care, and has been transferred to the Barrow Neurological Institute in Phoenix as he recovers. Hit in the head by a line drive. And Evan, we are really pulling for you here, and we are fingers crossed. We know you're going to come through this just fine, and all the best from us here from the Diamondbacks and Fox Sports Arizona. We've heard from a ton of fans, Evan, and everybody is with you, so hang in.
Absolutely.
Nick Swisher. And it's just great that the Diamondbacks could get him to Barrow, which is internationally known for its neurological research, and that's the spot where he will continue his recovery, and we have prayers up there for you, so keep going. And we encourage all the fans who are already doing so, but if you haven't, we encourage you to do the same. Two and one on Nick Swisher. Swisher's 0 for 2. You know, he's right. You do have better hair than John Smoltz.
No, I have a little hair, and that's more than John Smoltz. So,
although he wore a wig during his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, he did. You know, that's one thing. You know, obviously the Hall of Fame, you can look at the numbers and say, wow, this guy was great. That guy was great. But you take that Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine combination. Not only were they great pitchers and competitors on the field, those guys were some of the best cut-ups in the clubhouse you will ever see. They had a way of keeping things loose.
I've heard some legendary Maddox stories. Maddox, it seems, was in particular just diabolical.
Off the charts.
3-2 now. Now, those guys would compete against each other on the golf course and then out there on the mound later that day.
Or a ping pong table or a putting contest in the clubhouse. Anything they were doing against each other, they were trying to win.
Swisher batting from the left side for the first time tonight.
And gets the big exaggerated pull shift as a left-handed hitter.
He's already got that front foot pretty well protected. It hit right on the pad there.
Right on the guard.
Probably still feels bad. Nick Swisher is 12th year in the big leagues, a career .250 hitter. He's got 241 career home runs, Nick Swisher. 9 straight seasons of at least 21 homers with the A's, the White Sox, the Yankees, and the Indians. A streak that ended last year when he had surgery on both knees. And he works a walk.
And astute baseball fans are well aware that Nick Swisher is the son of Steve Swisher. Played in the big leagues for the Cubs and the White Sox, a catcher out of Ohio University.
The Ohio U.
Well, Nick actually went to the Ohio State University, probably because he couldn't get into Ohio U.
Well, it's tough to get in.
Yeah, I was briefly a teammate of his daddy's. His father, Steve, was a senior when I was a freshman.
Nick Swisher, a first-round pick out of the Ohio State by the A's in the 2002 draft. Here's Andrelton Simmons, who has singled twice and scored twice. Simmons has not hit much at all over the last month and a half, so this is a big night for him. Since July the 1st, he's hitting under .210 with only 2 extra base hits. But so far tonight, 2 for 2.
A long look down to third by Simmons. It would have to be a hit and run if Freddie Gonzalez was going to do anything. Nick Swisher has deceptive speed. He's a lot slower than he looks.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Yeah, many times when playing for the Yankees, they would take him down for a pinch runner late in a close game. Does a lot of things well, especially with a bat in his hands, but running the bases quickly is not one of them.
Two and 0. Late time granted by Paul Schreiber back there.
I think that was requested by Simmons. You can see his mouth moving, but he wisely didn't take his hands off the bat as he was requesting time, just in case it wasn't granted.
That is smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a point of rule. You can request a timeout from the home plate umpire, but he does not have to grant it. So those guys that like to take one hand off the bat and hold it up in the air to let the umpire know they want timeout, it isn't always granted, and then you've got to re-grip the bat quickly and try to protect yourself up there.
Three and 1.
You can see Simmons' mouth moving. Timeout, timeout, timeout. But he never took both hands off the bat. And once timeout was granted, he moonwalked right out of that batter's box just in case Addison Reed let it go.
Pitcher spot is due up next. Joey Turdoslavich is in the on-deck circle. He would hit for Tehran. Three one is in there, and it's a full count, 3-2.
Simmons leads the Braves in grounding into double plays this year. 15 times he's bounced into a twin killing.
There goes Swisher. Simmons lifts it in the air to center right at AJ. 2 down. A look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Game 2 of this 3-game series here from Turner Field tomorrow. Fox Sports Arizona Diamondback Live pregame show at 3:30. Patrick Corbin, the left-hander, against right-hander Mike Foltynewicz. That's a 3:30 pregame show start time back home in the great state of Arizona. Pitcher spot due up. Joey Turdoslavich will hit for Julio Tehran. Turdoslavich 191 with a homer. He is 1 for 14 as a pinch hitter this year, but that one is a home run. His first and still only major league homer. And the shift is on here. Jake Lamb, a little late in getting over to the second base spot. But now everybody's in place. Tardoslavich just called up from AAA Gwinnett earlier this month. He has spent much of the year injured with a left wrist problem suffered during a spring training game. This is a guy who can play first base, can play either corner outfield spot for you. One and two.
Very nice job that time by Wellington Castillo. That pitch, maybe a ball off the outside corner, but the way he received it and just ever so subtly turned his wrist made it look like it was right on the outside corner.
That is hit well toward the right field corner. That's a fair ball. And we'll see how fast Swisher can run on those bad knees. They'll stop him at third. It's a double for Joey Tardoslavich.
Looked like a slider for Madison Reed that time. Inside part of the plate, didn't have that down and in movement he was looking for, and Tardoslavich bangs it down into that right field corner. We talked about Swisher's lack of speed with all the knee injuries. He just can't cover the ground he once did. It was going to be tough to send anybody from first base on that ball.
Second and third, 2 outs, and here's the leadoff man, Jace Peterson. He's got an RBI triple. He has walked and scored a run. 1 for 2. Swisher is the runner at third. Tardoslavich at second. You calling Japan again over there?
I'm trying, yeah.
That's the 7th hit for Atlanta, just 3 for the Diamondbacks. Braves have stranded 5 so far. Addison at 20 pitches, 11 for strikes. One. Peterson, even with his RBI triple in the third, just 2 for his last 18 at the plate. Foul tip, and Beef Wellington hangs on. 1 and 2. How about that? There's our Japanese contingent. Randy Johnson looking out the window. Tony La Russa on the phone, talking to us while riding the bullet train. That's pretty cool. That's the power of the Twitter. I get asked all the time, when is Brenly going to get on Twitter?
Soon.
You could post your fishing pictures.
Nobody wants to see those.
Why do we show them then?
Because I like to see them.
Well, I get all the time. In fact, I just looked at one a moment ago. Along with a guy who told me it's not called the Twitter. He's incorrect. It's the Twitter. Hey, Steve, does Bob Brenly have a Twitter account? I would like to follow him, but I can't. That's from Brian. I'm trying, Brian.
Well, I'd suggest, Brian, just tune in every night around 7:30.
The latest with Bob Brenly.
I'll tell you the one video you didn't see from the fishing trip yesterday. We saw a white-tailed deer actually swimming right in the middle of the lake.
You showed me the video of that.
Unbelievable.
I didn't know that deer swam.
I didn't either.
Who knew? These are the kind of things that you could tweet. Peterson hits that out to left center field. A.J. Pollock is there, and a good job there by Addison Reed to strand two and keep it a 3-1 ball game. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Beef Wellington on the road. I guess that makes him road beef.
For the 132nd time in his career, Atlanta manager Bobby Cox is ejected from a game by Phoenix native Ted Barrett, breaking John McGraw's all-time ejections record. Now, Bobby Cox would go on to get ejected 26 more times, so he has a record that will stand.
We're in the 7th inning, 3-1 Braves.
The thing about Bobby is, and I don't have any statistics to back this up, but I would venture a guess that probably 75 to 80% of those ejections came in the first or second inning of a ball game, arguing with the home plate umpire to establish the strike zone for his tremendous pitching staff. If he could get an extra couple inches off the corner for Greg Maddux or Tom Glavine or John Smoltz, it was going to be a rough night for the other team.
David Aardsma on in relief of Julio Teheran. Teheran pitched 6 innings, gave up just 1 run on 3 hits. He walked 2 and had 7 strikeouts. And Aardsma, the veteran right-hander, is on to face Wellington Castillo to open up the Diamondbacks 7th. Castillo 0 for 2. He struck out twice against Teheran. And Teheran should get some kind of award for that. It's not easy to get Beef Wellington out these days. 8 homers and 15 RBIs in his last 13 games. But coming off an 0 for 4 Wednesday against the Phillies.
As good as the Diamondbacks bullpen has been recently, the Braves have struggled. You see their season ranks near the bottom of the National League in every important category for a bullpen. Of course, when you don't have Craig Kimbrell down there anymore to kind of lead up to, it kind of makes it tough to juggle those parts out there for Freddie Gonzalez. I mean, the Braves bullpen this month, their ERA is over 6.
Well, chance to still get to him here. It's only a 3-1 ball game. Look out. Bat goes 5 rows behind the D-backs dugout. As Castillo strikes out for the 3rd time tonight, 1 down.
That's odd in that it was a fastball, 92-mile-an-hour heater up in the zone. Usually when guys lose the handle on the bat like that, it's because they've been fooled by some kind of an off-speed pitch, either a slow breaking ball or a straight changeup.
Jake Lamb has one of the Diamondbacks' 3 hits tonight. The 2-out double in the second. He's 1 for 2. Got another message from Evan Marshall I just want to pass along for all the Diamondback fans out there. And it's great to have Evan alert and watching our ball game. He tells me I'm doing great. My progress has been leaps every day. I even got my heart rate up and didn't get dizzy or pass out. So that's really, really good news on Evan Marshall.
Absolutely.
So I hope Evan doesn't mind my passing that along to all the fans who have been asking us every day how you're doing, Evan. And it sounds like you're doing great. So that's really good news.
And what probably make him feel even better is some kind of a D-backs comeback in this ball game. As dominant as Tehran was through the first 6 innings of this game, and as shaky as Robbie Ray was, it's still a 2-run ball game. D-backs have a big chance to win this one against this Braves bullpen.
A lot of people are tweeting in that they would follow you if you were on the Twitter. Captive audience. Called strike 3. You've got a lot on your plate as it is. You're a grandpa, doing that thing on your phone where you talk to your granddaughter Gemma.
Got busted on the team bus today on the ride out here. You mentioned it took an hour to get here from Buckhead on the team bus, and I got a call from my daughter Lacey in Chicago. Wanted to FaceTime with Gemma, and you know I'll suffer a little embarrassment to goo talk my granddaughter on the team bus. And she had her hat on.
A baseball cap.
Yeah.
And she's started to use some words, right?
When she talks to Bob, she puts her baseball cap on. I'm not Grandpa. I'm Bob.
It's a very informal family. Owing's 0 for 2. So, yeah, I mean, you're fishing, you're Skyping with granddaughter. There's a lot going on here. You got the ball games. There's that pitch we talked about CO laying off of. He's been prone to it a couple of times here tonight. That breaking ball down and away. It's this in the air out to right center field. Maben. Wow. Cameron Maben takes extra bases away from Chris Owings. Laying out in right center to snag that one. 3-1, bottom 7 coming up. Fox Sports Arizona brings you an encore broadcast of Randy Johnson's jersey retirement ceremony. If you missed this moment of Diamondbacks history, or you just want to see it again, now's your chance. See it this Sunday, 1:30, right after the Diamondbacks and Braves on Fox Sports Arizona. Addison Reed back out there for the bottom of the 7th inning, and sure enough, Cameron Maybin, who made that spectacular diving catch in right center, leads it off for the Braves, who lead it 3-1.
Well, you were talking earlier in the ballgame about Cameron Maybin's long legs, and he uses them to full effect out there in center field. He really covered a lot of ground to get to that ball.
He's got a walk and 2 base hits, an RBI triple and an RBI single. Another look at Spider-Man. He used to do this at Petco Park for the Padres.
Back when the outfield was big at Petco Park, and he could cover just as much ground there. Nicely done.
Chris Owings at second. 1 away. They finally retire Maybin. Here's Nick Markakis, who's 0 for 3. Hey fans, now's the time as promised early in the ball game. Thanks for tweeting us your AZ Data Strong fan photo, and the winner is Lee. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, Money is picking right now, and the Dogs, it's a dead tip-off.
Yeah.
You know, Money loves his dog.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. Jeff Munn working the Diamondback radio side during this road trip. The governor is off. So it's Moneyball and Tom Candiotti along with Leo Gilmartin on D-Backs Radio as we travel through Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati on this road trip. Well, you like dogs.
Yeah.
That's a passing grade.
Yeah. Dogs are not varmints. As long as they're pets, that's fine.
That's the first rule by the Brenly Committee. No varmints in the photos. Goldie will take it himself. 2 down. A couple of quick ground ball outs here for Addison Reed. There they are. The Brain Trust on D-Backs Radio. Tom Candiotti on the left, Jeff Munn on the right, and high above, as he often likes to sit, Leo Gilmartin. Johnny Gomes is the hitter, but Michael Bourne will take the at-bat. Just a handful of games with the Braves, now back in Atlanta after 2.5 seasons in Cleveland. He's just 1 for 15 since he was acquired from the Indians last week. And Jake Lamb comes well in on the grass at third.
And it's not unusual for Freddie Gonzalez to take Johnny Gomes out for defense late in a ball game when the Braves have a lead. And, you know, since you got a right-handed pitcher on the mound, he's going to go ahead and make the change now with a pinch hit at bat for Michael Bourne, who will then stay in the game defensively.
There's Johnny Gomes. Had a pair of walks in the ball game tonight. Bourne 237 for the year, only 13 extra base hits. He is not the player he used to be. Bourne and Nick Swisher acquired from Cleveland for third baseman Chris Johnson. He still runs a little bit, but nothing like the way he used to run. And there's little more left in that bat than singles at this point. Of course, Michael Bourne, an all-star here in Atlanta back in the 2012 season. Hit .274, 9 homers, stole 42 bases. And then left for Cleveland the following year, got a $48 million deal. A one-hopper right to CO. 3 quick ground ball outs for Addison Reed. We go to the 8th in Atlanta. Diamondbacks down 3-1. That was the Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. Gila River game summary as we start the 8th inning at Turner Field. Diamondbacks have been out hit 7-3. They trail it 3-1. A disappointing effort from Robbie Ray, who struggled with his fastball command. He walked 4. Did not have a strikeout. Julio Teheran pitched very well for the Braves, who lead it 3-1 now. Michael Bourne, who hit for Johnny Gomes in the 7th, out there replacing Gomes in left to start the 8th inning. And it's Nick Ahmed versus David Aardsma, who worked a 1-2-3 7th. Pitcher spot is up next for the Diamondbacks, and Aaron Hill is in the on-deck circle. Nick so far 0 for 2.
Boy, and when we talk about the Major League Baseball season being a series of peaks and valleys, I don't think anybody exemplifies that more offensively than Nick Ahmed, who got off to the horrible start after 27 games. He was hitting .130.
The fly ball to deep center. It backs Maben up, but he's got room.
And then for Nick's next 50 games, he hit .305 with 6 homers and really looked like he had turned the corner offensively. But unfortunately, over his last 24 games, the batting average down there around 140 again. Just trying to find some holes in the defense right now.
Well, here's a bat that has really heated up lately for the Diamondbacks. It's Aaron Hill, who will hit for Addison Reed. And Aaron at .230 with 5 homers. Coming off a very productive homestand. He's hit safely in 5 straight games. And he's up there right now, 8 for his last 14. A home run Tuesday.
And you can see how ecstatic his teammates were when Aaron got back to the dugout after that home run. When you have a veteran player who's been a starter pretty much his whole career and finds himself in the role Aaron's in this year, part-time third baseman, part-time second baseman, full-time pinch hitter, it'd be very easy for that guy to be jaded and be a negative influence in the clubhouse, demand a trade. But because of the way Aaron's gone about his business with these young players, mentoring some of them,
that one has got a chance, but Markakis, a Gold Glove outfielder, runs it down right on the right field line for the second out. Nick Markakis is one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball.
And it took a good defensive outfielder to run that one down. Aaron Hill making a bid for extra bases, drove that ball down in the right field corner, but just outrun by Markakis that time. Yeah, but because of Aaron's attitude and the way he's approached his role with this ball club, I think his teammates probably appreciate him now more than they did when he was an everyday player.
You're absolutely right, Bob. He said earlier this year his job is to be professional and be available, and he's certainly been both of those things.
Yep.
Ender Inciarte has walked and singled. He scored the Diamondbacks' only run. Aardsma jumps ahead 0-2. David Aardsma, one of the good guys, this guy you root for at the age of 33. Signed a minor league deal with the Braves and was just called up from AAA Gwinnett in June. 2-2 now.
He's one of those guys, I think the light bulb kind of went on late for David Aardsma, because when he was younger, this guy could throw a ball right through a brick wall. I mean, he was consistently in the upper 90s, but really could not command any kind of a secondary pitch. He worked with the splitter, he tried a changeup, he tried a curve, a slider. But as he's lost a little velocity here in his 30s, he's learned how to pitch a little bit, move the ball around, a little tighter breaking pitch. He's able to command his fastball a little better at lower velocities, and he's become a much more effective pitcher.
Former first-round pick by the Giants back in 2003. And he still throws hard enough. Played for the Mariners, the Mets, the Giants, the Braves, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Yankees, and the White Sox. He's been around.
Yeah, it's a garage full of duffel bags. When you're with that many teams, you get traded or you get released, and one of the last things they do kindly for you is let you take that duffel bag home with you. So you pack all your personal stuff out of the locker in whatever team it happens to be in their duffel bag. You take it back home, you throw it in the garage, get signed by another team, and report and go through the same process again at some point.
He did not pitch in the major leagues last year, David Ardsman. Inciarte, this is going to get down in right center. Maven over to cut it off. Ender is thinking two here, and he's in there. Ender Inciarte, his 19th double. And the Diamondbacks, with 2 down in the 8th, will get the tying run at the plate.
I can't talk enough about the big gaps in this ballpark. In a lot of ballparks, this one shoots through all the way to the wall. But Ender gets it out there toward the gap. Maben cuts it off, but because he's so far away from his target at second base, an easy advance for Ender Inciarte into second.
And a chance for A.J. Pollock, who's 0 for 3. Still hitless. He comes into tonight with a 6-game hitting streak. Brzezinski loses that when Inciarte moves up to third. I think that hit Paul Schreiber.
Yeah, I think it caught mostly Schreiber's mask back there. I'm not sure if this was a cross-up or AJ just didn't react quickly enough to that high fastball.
You can see A.J. Brzezinski signaling into the Braves dugout. The trainer was going to come out and look at the umpire, but Paul Schreiber said he's just fine.
Well, A.J. said he's just fine. I'm not so sure Paul Schreiber said he was fine.
Try to frame one of those pitches in the dirt again before he clears his head. One and one. AJ squares to bunt. Pitches upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. Garcia at third will still play behind the bag. AJ center field. Maben won't get there. Inciarte scores an RBI single for Pollock, and back-to-back 2-out hits have made it a 3-2 ball game. AJ's now hit in 7 straight.
He had some good swings earlier, and he had batted David Ardsma, but fouled him off. This time he gets a fastball down and in. Ardsma missed his spot by a wide margin. Little soft liner into center brings the D-backs within a run.
And it brings out the pitching coach, Roger McDowell. Goldie up. Ardsman's already thrown 28 pitches, 19 for strikes. Goldie 1 for 3, and RBI double his last time up. Game 2 of the series tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 3:30. Patrick Corbin versus Mike Foltynewicz. There's the strike, 0-1. Goldie coming off a pair of 3-hit games on the last homestand, including Wednesday against the Phillies. He had a double, a triple, and 2 RBIs.
No framing that pitch. Just keep it in front, keep that runner at first base, keep him out of scoring position. It looked like on that last delivery, A.J. was trying to time Aardsma's delivery to home plate, had a little bit of a false jump over there, and then stopped.
There goes Pollock. There is no throw from Pierzynski. The pitch is a strike, and A.J.'s in scoring position. He's the tying run. A 1-2 count on Goldie.
Well, there was a time earlier this season that you probably would not have seen that stolen base attempted right there, but with David Peralta swinging the bat the way he has behind Goldie, I think Chip Hale says if you want to walk Paul Goldschmidt, go ahead right now. We'll take that lefty on righty matchup with our hottest hitter, David Peralta.
In fact, you got 2 strikes on him, probably changed their minds.
Yeah, I think so. Now they'll try to get him to chase something in the dirt or up high out of the strike zone.
1-2. A pair of 2-out D-backs hits in this 8th inning. They have made it a 3-2 ball game, plus the stolen base has put the tying run at second. 2-2 to Goldie. It's full. Now maybe you walk him. Peralta has struck out, walked, and flied out. Three-two pitch.
It looked like that went right down his shin bone that time on the front leg. Goldie wearing that protective guard on top of his left foot. Right above it.
It's a long season.
I'm just thinking to myself, do you think that hurt Goldie any less than it hurt other guys when they foul a ball off their leg and roll around on the ground?
Yes, he's impervious to pain.
Yeah, I think he is.
3-2 one more time. Simmons at short, the backhander, long throw, and they got him. D-backs strand the tying run at second, but they get one. A.J. Pollock, his 50th RBI on the year. Bottom 8 coming up, it's 3-2.
Arizona is brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Atlanta, Georgia. Bottom 8 at Turner Field. Diamondbacks trail the Braves 3-2. And the new pitcher for Arizona, the right-hander Daniel Hudson. He'll work to A.J. Brzezinski, Adonis Garcia, and the pitcher spot, 5, 6, and 7 for Atlanta. Brzezinski 0 for 2. He walked back in the fourth. .294 on the year. He's at .310 this season versus right-hand pitchers, including all 7 of his home runs. D-backs have the shift on. They overload the right-hand side. It's amazing now how many times the third baseman in a major league game has to jog back and forth between his spot at third and at second. Jake Lamb's been doing that all night long. The fly ball to A.J. in center. 1 away. Diamondbacks in the ninth will have 4, 5, and 6. Peralta, Castillo, Lamb. Here's Adonis Garcia. I've just been handed this report. The Blue Jays, breaking news, have lost a game. They had won 11 straight. They lost 4-3 to the Yankees, who regained the lead in the AL East by a half game over Toronto. Garcia swings at the first pitch and grounds out to Nick Ahmed. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game comes off the bat of Adonis Garcia. In the second, Nick Ahmed at short. Number 3 among Major League shortstops in defensive runs saved. And the ability to make those accurate throws on the move, running away from your target, throwing back against your own body, and still put the throws chest high to Goldie almost every time.
Pitcher spot now 7th in the Atlanta order. Here's Pedro Siriaco. He will hit for Ardsma. 265 and a homer. That home run came in their loss at Tampa Bay on Wednesday. Siriaco 9 for 29 as a pinch hitter this year. Siriaco has spent parts of 11 seasons in the minor leagues. He's been a solid bench player for Atlanta this year. Freddie Gonzalez says one of those hybrid guys that can play the corners of the outfield. He can play every spot in the infield. Lamb in at third as Siriaco swings through that one. It's a ball and a strike. Speaking of the minor leagues, let's take a look at our State Farm report of the game. Victor Reyes for Kane County. 3 for 4 yesterday against Great Lakes. He's hit in 8 straight. A former Brave farmhand. 2-1 on Siriaco. Siriaco, originally a Diamondbacks signee back in '03 out of the Dominican Republic. And he worked his way up through the system. He played at South Bend, Visalia, Mobile, and Reno. D-backs sent him to Pittsburgh at the trade deadline 5 years ago, along with Chris Snyder. Two and two. Reaches out and drops that one into shallow right center, a base hit. So makes Siriaco 10 for 30 as a pinch hitter this year. That'll work. Andrelton Simmons 2 for 3. A pair of singles. He has scored twice. Flying out his last time up. Mike Harkey. I think Mike Harkey leads the league in 2-out mound visits. Hey fans, Goldie, AJ, Chip Hale, the whole gang. We'll all be back at Chase Field next season. We'd love to see you there with us. Purchase a 28-game half or full season ticket and you will get the best seat at the best price. It's a discount price when you're a season ticket holder. So go to dbacks.com/tickets for all your information. It's going to be a lot of fun watching this ball club next year. John Smoltz was talking to us about that during the break, how impressed he's been with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, it's hard not to be, considering where they came from last season and the prospects for this year. I think so far they have far exceeded everybody's expectations.
Last year, 64 and 98, 30 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. Never did recover from that 8 and 22 start. And so many injuries. But a different story this year.
Ooh. Close to a balk right there. And Daniel Hudson and Wellington Castillo having trouble getting on the same page, and Daniels nearly started his delivery and then quickly stepped off with that right foot to avoid the balk call.
1-0. Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game. Todd Walsh will have reaction from the clubhouse. Game 2 of the series tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show at 3:30. Patrick Corbin versus Mike Foltynewicz. 1-1 on Andrelton Simmons. A bouncer up the middle. Ahmed's there on the short hop, and he throws him out. So Huddy strands the 2-out single. We go to the 9th inning. It's a 1-run ball game.
By Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros location today.
Turner Field in Atlanta, ninth inning. Diamondbacks down 3-2. And on for the Braves is the new closer, Arodys Vizcaino, recalled from AAA Gwinnett last month. He got his first career save August 6th against the Marlins. Worked a scoreless ninth, got his second save the next night. And as you can see, he's been pretty effective, a 0.61 ERA in 16 appearances. And David Peralta, who is celebrating his 28th birthday here today, will lead off the Diamondback ninth. Peralta, Castillo, Lamb, 4, 5, and 6. David so far 0 for 2. He walked in the fourth. Tapper over the head of Vizcaino. Peterson charges, and he gets Peralta, who tumbles over the bag. Let's see if David's okay. Nice play by Jace Peterson. That ball was not hit very hardly, wasn't moving fast at all. And the freight train goes off the tracks here at first. Every time I see a player do that for the Diamondbacks, I think of that horrific Cody Ross injury. Just have to be so careful.
Well, that was a great defensive play that time by Peterson. That ball did stay down. That one extra hop is all you're hoping for as a hitter. Make that second baseman bend all the way over to ground level to pick it up, and Peterson was able to do that and fire on to first for the out.
A big out number one for Vizcaino. Here's Wellington Castillo, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Strike one. 98. This is hit out in the air to right center field. Cameron Maben in front of the warning track, on the track, and he's got it 2 down. Well, it's up to Jake Lamb now. Jake doubled in the second, struck out in the 5th, and in the 7th he's 1 for 3. Diamondbacks took 2 of 3 from the Braves back home at Chase Field. That was during the first week of June. But if they drop this one, they will have lost 12 of their last 14 here at Turner Field. 1-1. The last road trip, 10 games in 3 cities. This one the same. 3 different cities, 10 games. That first trip started with a sweep of the Mariners at Safeco Field in Seattle. But this one out away from opening up with a loss. 2 balls and a strike. 2-2.
And you really have to give credit where credit is due. This Diamondbacks offense had put 15 or more hits on the board 4 straight games coming into play tonight. But Julio Teheran was on top of his game as the starter for the Braves, and so far the bullpen has shut down the Diamondbacks offense.
D-backs only 2 runs on 5 hits. Teheran walked 2. He struck out 7. Vizcaino trying to close the door. He went. That's the ball game. And the Diamondbacks drop the opener in Atlanta 3-2. Well, some of the big bats that have been producing for the D-backs lately, Bob, couldn't come up with much here tonight. Castillo struck out 3 times. Lamb struck out 3 times. Julio Teheran, who got off to a little bit of a bumpy start, ended up with a very nice effort for Atlanta, and he's our Arizona Federal Credit Union Power Player of the game.
Yeah, they had a few chances early in the ball game. We heard